Ever since I was a kid, the concept of DNA Digivolution has always been a confusing topic for me. Every now and then, I would see more discussion about it on the internet, which would usually leave me perplexed. To add on to that, I would hear the term Jogress thrown around by other Digimon fans, and wouldn't know what to do with that. Some people said that DNA Digivolution and Jogress were the same thing. Others said that the first people were dumber than a sack of goatsumon. An explanation I often saw thrown around was this. Jogress, or joint progress, happens when two Digimon digivolve together to get to a higher stage. When the stage does not change, then it's DNA Digivolution. Wow, I remember thinking at the time, my problems have finally been solved. But how do we know that that's true? Maybe the answers were hidden within the Digimon games. Or so I thought. Anyway, some of the PS1 Digimon World games would add further confusion to the mix, which would proceed to make a young editor boy more confused than ever before. Digimon World 1 didn't really feature DNA or Jogress Digivolutions in any capacity, so we can ignore that one. But Digimon World 2 definitely had something to say about all this. Oh no, my Digimon cannot level up anymore. What do I do? Well, maybe DNA Digivolution would help. Okay, that's cool. I guess it's time for my champion level Digimon to DNA Digivolve into… a rookie? Ah, now I understand. Even less than before. Oh, wait a second. Does that mean that the internet lied? No, it's not possible. Or maybe it's simply Digimon World 2 being Digimon World 2. The game is clinically insane after all. Maybe I needed to find my answers elsewhere. And that brings us to the fan favorite, Digimon World 3. DNA Digivolutions do exist in Digimon World 3, but the game doesn't really like to talk about them. They are kinda hidden away, waiting for you to find them on your own. Some of them can be found pretty early on, but there are others which you may never come across. And there is one in particular that actually possesses, in terms of raw power, the strongest attack in the entire game. And there is another one which is hidden away so well, behind such an absolutely intense grind, that you wouldn't be able to get a chance to see it, unless you used a guide. But today, we're gonna find each and every DNA Digivolution in the game, and see if we can figure out the mysteries of this evolution in the process. So I hope you've got your snacks and about 16 liters of Pepsi ready, for it is time for us to find the secret DNA Digivolutions of Digimon World 3. First, let's talk about how DNA Digivolutions actually work in this game. As you know, in Digimon World 3, you can have up to 3 rookies in your party, each of which can equip up to 3 different Digivolutions. Each DNA Digivolution requires 2 specific Digimon, which need to be equipped to 2 different rookies. If that was accomplished, then while in battle with one of the required Digimon, if you were to select the tag option, you'll see this orb next to one of the rookies, who has the other required Digimon equipped. The process will consume some MP, but if you activate the DNA Digivolution, then this will happen. Yes, very cool. Afterwards though, the Digimon combined this way will split back into 2 again. So it's a one-time attack, not completely dissimilar to the summons from Final Fantasy games. And now that we know how to use them, let's get out there and find them all. The one you just saw was Agunimon, one of the 3 teaser Digimon featured in this game from the anime Digimon Frontier, which came out around the same time as this game. Agunimon's move is a magic-based fire-type attack, and is definitely going to be the first DNA Digivolution you will find, if you picked either the balanced or powerful pack in the beginning of the game. The required Digimon can be acquired very quickly, as you only need the natural champion forms of 2 of the 3 rookies you start with from either pack. The attack itself is a decent early game move, which would be pretty effective against Pheromon, in case you're having trouble with him early on, due to his debilitating weakness to fire. Although you probably wouldn't get the most out of this move if you DNA Greymon and Hookmon together, as they likely won't have a high spirit stat, which is what powers magic-based moves in this game. But even if they did, magic is pretty bad in general in this game, unless the enemy is extremely weak to a certain element, like Pheromon. Agunimon's attack is cool to look at, but you really wouldn't be relying on it too much, even early in the game. And later on, you'll have much better moves to spend your MP on. Anyway, if you ended up picking the Maniac pack though, you will be able to get access to another teaser Digimon from the Frontier anime. You'll need Growlmon and Grizzmon for this one, which are the champion level forms of Guilmon and Kumamon. And with their powers combined, you'll get BladeGarurumon, also known as KendoGarurumon. KendoGarurumon has a similar attack to Agunimon. It is also a magic-based move with the same amount of power behind it, except that it's a machine-based attack. While Agunimon's move had some niche early game viability due to being super effective against Pheromon, Kendo's move here doesn't really have that advantage. In fact, while there are quite a few boss Digimon that have a weakness to fire-type moves, you would have a hard time finding any who are weak to machine-type moves. Well, there are certain plant-type Digimon who are weak to machine, I guess, although they are just wild enemies and they are really easy to beat already. But I suppose you could try giving him the Kendo if you really want to. Show that red Vegemon who the boss is. But besides that, we also have to keep in mind that both Growlmon and Grizzmon have pretty terrible spirit stats. Put it all together and you'll find this to be an attack that you likely won't use much, if at all. But it's fine for super early in the game, I suppose. And Kendo does look cool, so it definitely gets points for that. Here's a fun fact, both Agunimon and KendoGarurumon are considered to be hybrid Digimon, so they can sometimes be champions, and sometimes be ultimate level Digimon. How wonderfully convenient. For the next one, we will need X-Vmon and Stingmon. Unless you have recruited Vmon, your best bet would be to use Renamon and Patamon, both of which come with the balanced pack. Renamon can unlock X-Vmon through Taumon, and Patamon can unlock Stingmon through MegaGargomon. The two will then combine to form Paildramon. So this is supposed to be a Jogress, right? Cause the level changed, but the game calls it a DNA Digivolution, so never mind. Paildramon's move is a very simple, big, no-nonsense physical attack. No element, no effect, no nothing, only boom. On a side note, Paildramon, as well as the other non-teaser DNA Digivolutions, can also be acquired permanently, although the effort required to get them permanently can often be quite heinous, and not necessarily as simple a process as getting the two DNA components on one Digimon. Sometimes that is the case, and sometimes different, completely random Digimon are involved instead. Why does it work that way? Who knows? Maybe the developers stopped caring, or maybe they finally lost their minds at this point in development. Anyway, Paildramon isn't that hard to get permanently. If you have Vmon, that is. If you don't have Vmon, then you should probably be content with the DNA Digivolution instead. Next up, we will need War Growlmon and Digitamamon. The Maniac pack is the best bet for this one, as War Growlmon is Guilmon's natural ultimate, and Digitamamon can be unlocked very early on for Patamon through Angemon. A strange combination. I don't know what Digitamamon is doing in there, but the two will combine together somehow and become MegaGargomon. Huh, didn't see that coming. Although this DNA Digivolution does charge more MP than Paildramon, the overall power is lower than Paildramon's attack, which is quite odd, I think. MegaGargomon is a mega level Digivolution, but this game offers it no respect here. Anyway, this is a machine type attack, so you know what that means. Time to go hunt that red Vegemon again. Yay! The lower power is still bothering me, to be honest. The boom should definitely be bigger with MegaGargomon. If you want MegaGargomon permanently though, you'd need to get MetalGarurumon to skill level 99. So seriously, what the heck was Digitamamon doing in the DNA then? Is there some sort of vague reference that I'm not getting here? Did Digitamamon digivolve into MegaGargomon in one of the handheld games or something? Anyway, the permanent MegaGargomon has Giant Missile, which does have more power behind it than the DNA attack. So if you are a big fan of MegaGargomon, then maybe you should grind for the permanent version instead. But in terms of DNA Digivolutions, Paildramon seems to have the edge, except when it comes to those red Vegemon, their butts belong to MegaGargomon. The next one is actually kinda unique in what it does. We'll need Taumon, which is Renamon's natural ultimate, and MegaGargomon. In terms of access, the balanced pack contains both Renamon and Patamon, if you wanna plan ahead for this one. These two ultimate level Digimon will then combine to form Phoenixmon. Phoenixmon doesn't actually attack the opponent. Instead, this is a party-wide complete healing and revival skill. Pretty cool, I suppose. Sometimes you gotta hurt, and sometimes you should rather heal instead. And if you wanted to get Phoenixmon permanently, you'll need to get Rosemon to skill level 99. Considering Rosemon itself is a Mega level Digimon, Phoenixmon can take considerable effort to attain, even if Rosemon can be unlocked early compared to other Mega level Digimon. On a side note, I think it's worth pointing out that the move these Digimon use when you DNA Digivolve into them is not necessarily the same move you'll get access to if you took the time to unlock them permanently. And DNA Paildramon's move is practically the same as permanent Paildramon, but MegaGargomon's is almost entirely different from the associated power to the animation. We'll see more differences between the permanent and temporary forms as we go along. In this case, permanent Phoenixmon has practically the same move as the DNA one. Now then, I think most of you will be able to tell who the next Digivolution is as soon as I mention the required Digimon. You're gonna need WarGreymon along with MegaGarurumon. The powerful pack gives you access to Agumon, who can get to WarGreymon directly, and Monmon, which can unlock Omnimon, the prerequisite to MegaGarurumon, pretty early on through Armormon, which is Monmon's natural ultimate. These two epic Mega-level Digimon will then fuse together to form the iconic, the one and only Omnimon. Omnimon's DNA attack packs an insane 850 power behind it, which does kinda make sense thematically when you consider the fact that he's attacking with the Grey Sword as well as the Garuru Cannon. During the Secret Digivolutions of Digimon World 3 video, I featured the permanent Omnimon, and I talked about his signature attack, the T-Sword, which isn't a very powerful move. I mentioned at the time that we may eventually get to see the Garuru Cannon come out, and here we are. The DNA Omnimon is absolutely busted, and worth having around even in the endgame. Here's a fun fact about Garuru Cannon. In Digimon World 2, while Omnimon did exist and Garuru Cannon was coded into the game, it wasn't possible for an in-game Omnimon to actually use the move legitimately, as Garuru Cannon was never implemented into the game properly. But if you played your cards right, you could even have a new Mimon use Garuru Cannon. And by playing your cards right, I, of course, mean cheating. Right then, on to the next one. We'll need Imperialdramon Dragon Mode and Seraphimon. For Dragon Mode, you might as well just use Vmon, as everyone else would have a very annoying time getting to Imperialdramon. And for Seraphimon, obviously Patamon would be the simplest option. These two Digimon would then digivolve together to form the stylish, the magnificent Imperialdramon Paladin Mode. Paladin Mode's attack is substantially weaker than Omnimon's in terms of raw power, which really bums me out. But in exchange for the lower power, this move has an additional effect, which makes it stronger against evil. So if you run into any more of those pitiful Demi-Devimon out there, Paladin Mode could help you purge them completely. Is the lower power a good trade-off for an effect like this? I don't think so. But you know what? The final boss Digimon that you can encounter in the post-game, Armageddon, is actually an evil Digimon. So there's that. The permanent Paladin Mode is a whole lot harder to acquire, needing Omnimon and Imperialdramon Fighter Mode on the same Digimon. Not an easy feat by any means, and in all honesty, not particularly worth the hassle required to get there, in my humble opinion. Oh, and the signature attack of permanent Paladin Mode is almost the same, gameplay-wise, just with less power. Evil Digimon better hide when this guy is around. Time to talk about another fan favorite. For this one, we'll need Gallantmon and Malomyotismon. Guilmon would be my go-to candidate for Gallantmon, and for Malomyotismon, there are a couple of options. Vmon has somewhat easy access to Devimon, which eventually unlocks Myotismon, who then goes on to unlock Malomyotismon. But if you don't want to use Vmon, Renamon can get to Devimon without too many problems too. And if these Mega level Digimon do digivolve together, they will form the mighty Beelzemon. Beelzemon's move has a bit more power behind it than Paladin Mode's, but it's a magic-based move, which as we know, is not a good thing most of the time. It is a fire-based attack, so that's something. Again, a bunch of late-game boss Digimon are weak to fire, so this could be useful against them. But DNA Beelzemon really pales in comparison to permanent Beelzemon, as the latter's signature attack, Blast Mode, is a multi-attack physical move which, overall, has a lot more damage potential. So DNA Beelzemon is fine? Nothing special here, it's just alright. Kinda like slightly stale bread. You can eat it and it won't hurt you most of the time. You won't be blown away by the taste, but it'll get you through a meal. The next one we're gonna talk about does have something special going for it though. We'll need to get Black War Greymon and Grand KendoGarurumon. Black War Greymon is actually one of the easiest Mega level Digimon to get if you started with Agumon. Greymon can unlock Skull Greymon pretty quickly, and getting Skull Greymon to skill level 99 will unlock Black War Greymon. Now, getting Grand KendoGarurumon is a bit more complex. Weemon has the least complicated path towards it. Every other rookie is gonna require a lot more grinding. If you need more information about getting to some of these really hard to get Digimon, do check out my Secret Digivolutions of Digimon World 3 video, as I do go over them in more depth there. But with all that done, this truly disturbing combination will give birth to the legendary villain who we all know, fear, and love, Diaboromon. Diaboromon's attack has the honor of having the highest base power of any attack in the entire game. It's also a physical attack, so that's a good thing as well. No fancy effects or anything like that. The attack does not even have an element associated with it. You'd think it would be a dark type attack, but no. Diaboromon is gonna tear a hole into whichever poor Digimon is unfortunate enough to get in the way of this move. Also, DNA Diaboromon is, as far as I'm concerned, substantially better than the permanent one. The latter suffers from the fact that its entire move pool is magic based, which is not a good thing, as we know. The DNA Diaboromon is much easier to get access to, and it's gonna do a lot more damage as well. Also, does anyone else think that this move should do more damage to good Digimon? Like how Paladin Mode was all about evil? No, just me? Okay. Anyway, that brings us to the final DNA Digivolution hiding within this game. Remember the two teaser Digivolutions from Digimon Frontier we talked about in the beginning? Well, there is one more Digimon from that particular anime who can be found in World 3. Unlike the first two, who could be accessed near the beginning of the game, depending on the starting pack you went with, this one will require a whole lot more effort. And I mean a lot more. You better prepare your undies for the grind of your life, my friend. You will need to get permanent access to both Paladin Mode and Diaboromon, two of the most annoying and difficult to acquire Digimon in the entire game. No matter which rookies you decide to go with, the amount of grinding this will take is stupid, really. But assuming you do put your heart and soul into the grind, you will then be able to combine the powers of light and darkness to bring forth the final DNA Digivolution, Ancient Greymon. I am not entirely sure how those two Digimon combine to form a variant of Greymon, but if I've learned anything today, it's that I have to learn to stop asking so many questions. Ancient Greymon's attack requires a whopping 480 MP to even use. It's a magic base, oh, fantastic. Fire type attack with a respectable amount of base power, but not nearly as much as Diaboromon's. It does have a special effect though. It lowers the power of the opposing Digimon. I don't know how to feel about that. Considering the amount of work that goes into unlocking this monstrosity, it should be able to nuke anything that stands in its way. But I guess it is kinda special, since pretty much none of the DNA attacks we talked about today have any really desirable effects, unless you wanna go and hunt evil with Paladin Mode. It's okay, which is how I feel about most of these DNA Digivolutions. They're alright, but it's obvious that not a lot of thought went into them. They look pretty epic, but I wish there was more to them than, oh, big number, things go boom. Or in Paladin Mode's case, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so on my Patreon, where I've got exclusive playthroughs and other weird stuff that you might enjoy. I also livestream on weekends, which I've been told are pretty fun. So come hang out with me if you get the chance. And as for little editor boy, I don't think he's any closer to finding the truth behind all of this. None of it makes a whole lot of sense, but maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe the real answers were the friends we made along the way, although I don't know where they are. While our journey through the depths of Digimon World 3 may almost be over, there are plenty of other games which we need to look into. Who knows what new secrets we may end up finding. But before we do that, here's a quick shout out to my wonderful patrons. Thank you Hero Emblem, Blake CN1, Vanilla, Yog, Sevastimatus, and Carl Dean for your continued support. And here's a special shout out to McDivil, an amazing friend of the channel. Your friendship continues to make nerdhood a better place. Thank you McDivil, my friend. And now for an ultra strong shout out to the incredible people who keep the digital world safe and sound. A huge thank you to the amazing duo of Shamine and Derpin Goose for your support. You are the best, like no one ever was. But that's all I have for you today. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!
The things I do for love.